What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down the common mistakes that wide receivers make at the top of the route. So we're going to be looking at this router from a high school wide receiver, and then we're going to be comparing the exact same mistakes that he makes at the top of the route to the exact mistakes that A.J. Brown makes at the top of the route on this specific clip. So we're going to show that there are every single level of the wide receiver position, there are all common mistakes that guys will make that don't lead to separation. But again, it is very easy to correct if you do the right things. But before we get into that, fellas, I want to talk to you guys about a great opportunity this offseason for you guys to improve your skills. We are traveling out to 7 more cities across the U.S. for 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver training camps. So we're going to be coming out to Newark, New Jersey this weekend. That camp is completely sold out. Then we're coming out to Atlanta, Georgia, Columbus, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California. So each one of these camps is going to be a 2-day camp, 4 hours each day, fellas. So it's going to be 8 hours of training. We'll have DBs out there for the wide receivers to work on one-on-ones for both days. So again, if you guys are local to those areas or want to travel out, check out that very first link in the description below. We would absolutely love to have you out to one of our camps. All the information is located in that very first link. Let's get started. So now, first things first with this route. So one of the key things that so many wide receivers do is that they raise their pad level and shorten up their strides right before the break. So we're going to take a look at this guy's route. Now, again, I don't mean to show this and to be negative towards this kid because, again, he's just a kid. A lot of people have these same exact problems. I do it to show you guys how if this is one of your problems, this is how you can correct it. And if this guy happens to be watching the video, he's going to get a lot better from this because this is something, trust me, that a lot of receivers do. So right before they get to the break, everybody always has a good get off the line because I think it's pretty universal terms for wide receivers that you have to self-fade. So everybody gets off the ball fast. Everybody gets off the ball great. They're in full stride. They're pumping their arms. They got good pad level. And then when it comes time to get to phase 2, which is the break point, that's where a lot of guys screw up. A lot of guys start to raise up. A lot of guys start to shorten the stride. It's all about preparing for the break rather than breaking in stride. And we're going to talk about how to fix that. So when he goes here, you see what he does. He starts to immediately raise that pad level. He's making this break at about 10 yards. Okay, so now you want to get that habit of breaking off of yardage out of your head, especially when you guys are working situations against zone coverage DBs. When you guys get older, when you guys get to the next level, your routes are going to be off of steps. It's going to be off of your 3rd outside step, your 4th outside step. And if he would have taken the 4th outside step, he would have gotten to the depth, but instead he's more concerned about breaking at yardage, which automatically slows you down because he's so concerned about breaking right at that 10-yard mark, he starts to slow down at 5. So if I'm a DB who's in off coverage and I feel you start to slow down, what am I expecting? I'm expecting you to make a break. And if I'm in off man coverage even for that reason, and I see your pad levels start to raise, I'm expecting you to make a break. I am no longer thinking 9. I am out of my back pedal. I am just going to sit right there and be all over the route. So a lot of wide receivers do this, fellas, at every level. And we're going to show you with the A.J. Brown clip here in a second that even at the NFL level, they're making the same mistakes that youth and high school wide receivers make. Now, when you guys feel like you're breaking at yardage, you might think I'm a little confused on that. What does that mean? So when you guys make this route, right, let's count his steps. So you would normally run this probably, he's running like a post out route. Let's call it your 4th outside step. Normally, I'd work this with my guys on maybe their 3rd outside, but you could do also 4th outside. It kind of depends on the offense you're in. But let's talk about what an outside step is. So it's like he's here. This is his inside foot, right? His left foot. His right foot is his outside foot. So it would be his 4th step with his outside foot. Now, everybody loves to talk about counting steps, and it gets confusing. That's why you count only the outside or the inside steps. Because if you're trying to count every step, if you're trying to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's a 7-step route. That's very confusing. You're thinking about too much during the route, and obviously in a real game situation, we don't want to think. We want to keep it simple, and we want it to be automated. So it would be instead your 4th outside step. So let's talk about it, right? So when he comes off here, he naturally breaks off of that. But look at his first step. So that's 1. That's 2, and then he starts to shorten. That's 3, and then that's 4. If he would have just kept the same stride all the way to the break point, and he would have been counting those steps and would have thought, okay, right on that 4th, that's when I'm putting the brakes on, that helps you guys stay in stride, and it helps you guys keep a good pad level. Because when your eyes start to drop, what do? You start to slow down because you're trying to make that crisp break right at a specific spot. We cannot do that. We have to make sure that my eyes stay forward. I'm selling vertical, good pad level, and good stride. The keys to selling vertical is right up until this break point. I need to make sure that I have a good pad level, I'm in full stride, and I'm going full speed. And if I can do that, that's what moves the DB. And then when I can make that break on a dime and I can actually sell the route, that's what gets me separation. But you have to take care of the stem. And the stem is one of the biggest mistakes that receivers will make at the top of the route. They slow down, raise their pad level, shorten the stride. Those are all indicators. And not to mention when he breaks off of this, he's running a post out, right? Those 3 steps that you take on the post, they have to be long steps, right? So like again, when you break off of this foot and you're taking 3 steps, you're going left, right, left. Those have to gain you some ground. But when I slow down, I don't have any explosion off of this cut, right? So what ends up happening? He ends up taking kind of choppy steps and he doesn't really gain any ground. So that doesn't really sell the post, or maybe you're running a post corner post, out and up. So you have to make sure that we have speed, we have stride. I'm putting the brakes on a dime on a single step, and I am driving off of this thing to get some distance. Okay, so now I'm going to play this thing again full speed. We are going to talk about the A.J. Brown clip now as well. So, and again, fellas, going off of steps is not something we want you thinking about in an actual game scenario. If it's like press coverage, that's a different situation. Because if it's press, you can't really think about steps because it depends on the release, things of that nature. So you just really have to get to the landmark, right? But when it is zone coverage, it's all off of steps for timing with the quarterback and for smoothness of your routes. You get in and out of your breaks efficiently and still be able to self-fade. And it's going to happen through automation, fellas. You have to rep this stuff. You have to constantly be going off of steps no matter what you were doing when you're training. Never just run to a cone. Never just break at a cone. You could do drills like that every now and then, but everything should be calculated and you should get used to that counting steps method so it transfers into a real game situation, okay? I know that's a lot. I get it, but this is something that really bugs me because so many receivers do it and so many receiver coaches do not teach the right way. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Again, just make sure we're not raising up, make sure we're not chopping those feet so we could sell the route, have some explosion, and self-fade. Okay, so now, let's look at this route from A.J. Brown. So what he does is he's bursting up vertical, and you see how you rate, same kind of concept as that out route, right? So when he goes here, he's making that break. He starts to raise up with his pad level. And then what does he start doing with his feet? He starts chopping his feet, right? He's full stride, starts chopping his feet to prepare for the break. And then again, when we don't have any speed up into this break, what ends up happening? I don't have a burst out of there. Look where his first step was. His first step hardly took him anywhere. Very similar to the last clip that we just looked at. Now, obviously, A.J. Brown's probably faster. He's probably a better athlete. But he's also going up against a better athlete DB. So when we do these types of routes, fellas, it has to be calculated. And he has ran much better routes than this. This is probably just a case of him being maybe a little bit tired. I don't mean to knock him because he is a top 10 receiver in the league. But you look at his clips from route running this year. This was about 2 years ago. You look at him from route running this year, especially against like Jalen Ramsey for that matter. He's getting a ton of separation. He's selling fade. He's breaking on a dime. So those are the things that you have to correct, right? Those are the things that you can 100% get better at this stuff. Now, again, just the same thing. When you start to slow down, watch what that DB does. He's coming out great. He's starting to backpedal. But as soon as he starts to slow down, what does he do? He starts to slow down. He puts the brakes on. That guy's going to match my speed. As fast as I'm going is how as fast he's going to be going. So we have to make sure that we are selling fade, selling the 9 until that last possible second. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. So what's something that can help you guys break on a dime, break in full stride? Improve leg strength, improve ankle stability, improve knee stability. Those things can transfer over to actual full routes. You just got to make sure that we are putting in the time, fellas. Every single day you are doing something to improve these specific skills. Whether that's watching film, whether that's watching film of yourself, whether that's doing one-legged exercises that you could just do in your room, maybe hopping back and forth, forcing yourself to absorb weight or whatever. But you have to do things every day to stay consistent. Getting better, fellas, it's not rocket science. It's about consistency, right? Because a lot of people would just watch a video of mine one time and then they go out there and they think they have it down, they do it, and then they don't touch on it for another 2 weeks. It is about consistency. It is about finding a consistent schedule with the things that you are trying to build. You have to learn the skills, but then you have to apply the skills and you have to consistently apply the skills to be a great route runner. It will not happen overnight. But if you're on the younger side, you have a lot of time. If you're on the older side, it can be corrected 100%. It's going to be a little bit more work. But again, you have the advantage of maybe being a little bit naturally stronger because you're on the older side. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Again, right idea with the route, attacking the inside shoulder. But when I don't self-fade and I don't have that sudden break, I get no separation. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below, fellas. We really appreciate it. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. schedule. And again, fellas, if you're local to one of these 7 cities that we are traveling out to this off season, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to one of our 2-day camps. Again, spots are limited too, like you guys heard. Our Newark camp is completely sold out. We appreciate all the support if you guys are attending that camp. We look forward to meeting you guys this weekend. And yeah, we'd really love to have you out. Spots are limited to 10 to 12 guys, so we're keeping it small so we could actually coach you guys up and actually help you get better. So very first link in the description below, fellas. I'll see you guys next time.